Yep. That freaking drunk bunny. Hey, YouTube's nice and speedy tonight. That was
There we go.
literally less than 30 seconds from click to live, so
Well, how about that?
there we are. Hello. Hello there. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 206, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize my channel. We will be drinking alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. And if you like the content you see on this channel and want to help support us in what we do, consider joining the Patreon or Float Plane. Links are both down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the awesome and ever-growing community that hangs out over there. We are rocking and rolling.
Yes, we are.
How's it going, Rhett? How's it going?
Going pretty good. Going pretty good. Glad to be here. Coming down off of the first legitimate sickness I've had in 2 years.
Right.
Just knocked me out, man. I missed some work. I couldn't get out of bed. I was legit a little baby. It was bad.
I've been sick twice now since the pandemic. So I also got sick this weekend, and when the pandemic started, I went until I want to say December before I even got the sniffles. And boy, let me tell you, it was like I was on death's door. And but at the same time, in the back of your brain, you're going, this is not that bad. Like, you've got a scratchy throat and a little bit of the sniffles, and you're coughing once every 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, shut up and take it.
Yeah.
But we have been sick so infrequently because of social distancing, and we're all wearing masks, even though they don't work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't work.
Yeah.
Except I haven't been sick in 2 years.
Meanwhile, we've eradicated one strain of the flu.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I got sick. This was the first. I've had a scratchy throat, but it didn't last more than a couple days before. This was the first time, coughing, congestion, just feeling like crap. And this was, for me, I was just wallowing the whole time. What did I do for 2 years? I've wasted all of this non-sick time in my life. I can't believe I took it all for granted.
Yeah. Oh God, just kill me now. I'm coming, Elizabeth. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't. Last year I got sick and I was laid up for 2 or 3 days or so. This time it's just this light sniffle, a little bit of a post-nasal drip, but it completely annihilated my voice. Where Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I could not talk at all. Monday, I was like, I've got to get a video out. I was planning on filming on Saturday, and I tried to, and I literally couldn't get more than a sentence or two out, and my voice just completely gave out. And it's well, that's not going to work. Sometimes you can get away with being a little head coldy on camera.
Yeah.
Not when you're trying to explain ZFS deduplication and all of its glory in a 25-minute video. It's just not gonna, that one's not gonna pan out.
Yeah.
I don't have any unboxings that I can do. I don't have anything that I can just turn on the camera for 30 minutes and get out there. So I came downstairs Monday morning and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling better. I feel like I got a little strength back in my throat and whatnot. And I sat down, and again, I did about 2 sentences. And I just recorded to Audacity. I didn't even turn the camera on or set it up or anything. I just recorded to Audacity. And I'm like, that sounded all right. And then I played it back. And no, it did not. Literally, my voice was cracking and cutting out every third word. Just to the point it was going to be, if I turned the camera on, it was going to be unusable. It's well, I'm going back to sleep.
Yep. No use pushing it then.
Yeah. You can probably still hear a little bit. My voice is slightly lower than normal, but I'm thankfully on the tail end of this thing. So
take care of yourselves, guys. One thing that you got sick last year, it sounds like. I didn't, but one thing that's different this year than last, school is in session.
That's true.
And I feel like this cold, everybody has this cold.
Yep.
I was going to take tonight off.
Everyone I know. Literally everyone. I'm not talking in general. Every person I talked to has been sick with this in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things. It's reassuring a little bit because, you start getting sick. I'm like, oh boy, is this it? Does this finally happen? And then everybody has it. Everybody's like, okay,
I can still taste whiskey.
Yeah. Most people got over it pretty quick. I got hit pretty hard, but it goes to show you though that how much of this stuff was probably like just circulating constantly before.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting sick like every couple months. You get a little something, but you get over it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, glad to be feeling better. I'm looking forward to this beer. This has been a hell of a week, Jeff. And you know it because we've been trying to get videos out and the videos weren't coming. And, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on some of my other projects, but then boom, I got like these huge in-depth trainings I got to do away from home.
Yeah.
Boom, I got this huge like week-long project for work I got to focus on, and just one thing after another. And here we are Wednesday night. Like I said, I was going to take the night off, but John's family caught the cold too.
Yeah. So John is sick. His kid is sick, and John's trying to move too, and so he's been in the thick of it all this time as well.
Yeah.
The only person that's not sick is Steve, and he's out doing something else.
So here we are. Look, I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say I'm glad I have a beer.
Yeah, TGIW is what I posted on Twitter about an hour ago. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Rhett, since you're looking forward to yours, what are you drinking tonight, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I am drinking The Simple Life by Treehouse Brewing. Gosh, did I get a good shot on this? There we go. A little bit better. Yeah. That can art is gorgeous. And this is from, I believe it's a John J beer.
I believe so, yes.
Gift from John J.
Yeah, that's the Imperial Milk Stout, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This bad boy, an Imperial Milk Stout, it is 9.8%. It's brewed with chocolate, marshmallows, graham crackers, and coffee to carefully emulate the flavor of s'mores. This is exactly what I needed. Y'all seen me just need those Imperial Milk Stouts after a rough week, and this week's no different.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
I usually don't drink big beers during the week. Like, even if I have one during dinner, which is 50% of the time, I'll have a beer with dinner. It's like a 6 or 7% IPA. I got done with dinner on Monday night, and I was so done with the week already. I was already so fed up with the week that I cracked open an old Rasputin. It's like, nope. I am starting out with a Northwest Hazy IPA from Single Hill Brewing called the Hazley. HaisleY.
Oh, like a paisley.
Yeah, like a paisley, but it's a Hazley. It is made with Mosaic, Idaho Gem, Galaxy, and Idaho 7 hops. And I believe clocks in the mid 7s. 7.0. Okay. So I've had a couple beers from Single Hill, and I've been pretty impressed with them. So hoping this one is no different. John Jay's got an Anchorage double IPA. Nice.
People calling me out for the shirt. It's funny because...
Just read that.
It's funny because last time I was on for the Super Secret Show, pulled my shirt off. It is a thing that I do all the time in all of my other, virtual groups. Nobody says anything about it anymore, but it was like a talking point. People couldn't let it go. They thought I was crazy.
It was not just the shirt. It was the musical talents that went along with it.
The melodica. Yeah, I forgot I pulled that out.
There's a fantastic emoji on our Discord server now, by the way.
Oh, is there?
Yes,
oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen that.
Really? I thought I tagged you in it once. Yeah.
Maybe you did. I don't know. I have no shame.
No, I know. That's great.
It was hot in here, man. It's a small room.
Jeremy's drinking a cherry Coke this week. No Mountain Dew. Let's see. I would join with an espresso martini, but I'm on call. That's from Logan. You know what? Just go with a straight up espresso and treat yourself when it's not your shift. Whew. Novella Hubs got a Clown Shoes Exorcism at Sunset Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout at 10.75. Let's see. Michael's got a Warped Wing Brewing Creep Show Smoked Porter 6.66%, which is, I think, the perfect Halloween beer. RS is drinking a Dragon's Milk. Fantastic. Williams got a Torg Brewing Guilty Martyr Dunkelweizen, 5.6%. And Rev has a Colossal Cloud Double IPA from Rogue. So hitting our local one here a little bit. All right. So finally got that hazy poured. Really nice, light, pillowy, cloudy head on it.
That looks amazing. I wish that you all could see, but see, I swore that I would only drink out of this clay mug from now on. I wish you all could see how thick and dark this beer is. Let's see. Can we get a little, I don't know. But anyway.
I don't know if you can tilt it enough. Yeah.
That didn't help. That made it worse.
Nope.
Anyway. Oh my God. It is thick. It has like the consistency of like, chocolate milk, but it's got that rich roasted coffee flavor. It has the sweetness of like the marshmallows. You can taste sort of the honeyness of the graham crackers a little bit.
Nice.
I guess that, I say chocolate milk, but yeah, it's like it does have that hint of chocolate in it as well. Obviously, like I was reading that before and I was saying chocolate milk because of the consistency,
right?
But it has the flavor too.
Yeah, but also chocolatey. Right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like chocolate milk, but if you add chocolate to it,
the first thing that jumps out at me is the coffee. The coffee kicks me in the face, and the thing is, I love dark beers, and if you do a good job adding coffee to it, I'm sold. That's going to be one of my favorites. And the coffee flavor stands out. It's rich and roasted and bright. But this beer is thick.
Nice.
Oh, this is good.
Nice. This one is also quite good. Completely other end of the spectrum. I mean, Imperial Milk Stout versus Hazy Northwest.
Literally from opposite ends of the country, too.
Right. Very, very light-bodied, tangy, citrusy. It's like pineapple and passion fruit is kind of what this one is speaking to me. It is, I don't want to call it overcarbonated, but it almost has like that hypercarbonated grapefruit soda tingliness kind of on your tongue. Squirt, Sprite, 7-Up, where it just dances a little bit more than normal.
Right.
It's quite good. I like this one.
Hey, Jeff, cheers to you. Cheers to you all.
And to hell with this week.
For real. Down with. I'm actually like legitimately butting up. It's only Wednesday. I'm almost exhausted my hours at my other job for the week.
Yeah.
Like that's how crazy of a week it's been. So
yeah.
Depending on tonight after show, I got some work for Jeff I got to do. If I can get that done in a timely manner and jump on some other things, like I might not be working for my other job tomorrow and Friday. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be nice.
Well, I would take more time if they would allow me to, true. But they say 40 hours a week.
Yep.
We can't afford it.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the news this week, starting with a story that kind of warms my heart just a little bit because there's nothing more irritating in the tech sector and in the tech support world than printers.
Yeah.
We all hate them. We hate them with a fiery passion. Printers should not be that complicated. 3D printers at this point are easier to work than printers. That's a... I wish that was an understatement, but I think I'm actually underselling that statement. That 3D printers at this point in time are more consistent and easier to set up than some printers.
Yeah.
And that's pathetic. But this is not a feel-good story for a printer company doing something right. Rather, this is a story about Canon doing something wrong and being sued for it. That is, that if your Canon printer, scanner, copier combo, happens to run out of ink, it will also stop scanning and copying. Let me say that again. Right. If your Canon printer runs out of ink, the scanner on it will stop functioning. And surprisingly, Canon is being sued over this.
Not surprisingly. This has been the scam of printers for a long time, it feels like. How many of you have used printers where you run out of color ink in your cartridge and you can't even print black and white?
Right. Yep.
Not only is the industry that is cropped up around home printing so disastrous for the environment, it's also disastrous for your pocketbook. They don't make it cheap or easy. Oftentimes, it's easier to walk your ass on down to Office Depot and get yourself a brand new printer than it is to buy ink.
Here's the deal. I'm going to sound like a dinosaur for a second. Back in my day, there was such a thing as you would spend $500 on a printer, and the ink was $10. But the printers were so well made that they weren't sustainable for the company to invest in making printers. So they did the inverse, and they started selling consumables rather than selling printers. And so now printers are built to be sold for under $100 in most cases. And they make money on the ink because the ink is proprietary formula and worth more per ounce than gold is in some cases.
I mean, when was it? Who was it? A few years ago, I feel like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it came out, the big scandal that like some of these printers were designed to like leave 40% of the ink in these cartridges and say that they were empty.
HP got.
I was going to say, I thought it was HP.
Yep.
Like it's just such a joke.
Yeah, it really is. But it's because they didn't feel that they were making enough of a profit differential on selling really, really nice high-end printers versus selling consumables after the purchase. And so there is legitimately no reason in the world why a printer that you buy from the same company a year down the road uses a different ink cartridge than the one you bought last year. There's no reason in the world for it, other than they want to make them not compatible so you continue to buy ink. Ink dries out, which is why not a lot of companies push laser printers, and when they do, they're still, laser printers are $200, $300, $400 machines on average.
Yeah.
And toner is fairly expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive as printer ink is, especially when you figure how much use you get out of toner and the fact that toner doesn't go bad sitting in a cartridge in your printer if you print once every 3 months like I do here. So I have a color laser printer, and I love it. Although it's a Samsung laser printer, and then Samsung went and sold their printer division over to HP, and so now HP is in control of my Samsung printer drivers. And I actually lost functionality on the printer because you needed a Samsung application to get it configured onto the Wi-Fi. And HP's printer drivers don't have that functionality. So I have a wireless printer with no wireless connectivity anymore because I can't set it up for my new network.
That's irritating.
Yeah. But I refuse to buy a new printer. So I plugged it in with USB and share it off my wife's PC.
I refuse to really buy into printer, the at-home printing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I went through this thing. I had like 4 different printers at one point, and I had a collection of like 100 different cartridges, and some of which were like supposed to work in these printers and all this sort of stuff, but I couldn't get any combination of anything to work. And I threw them all out, and I started running my business entirely digitally.
Yep.
I have like a digital fax service. So if I need to fax something to somebody, I email them a PDF and it basically faxes on their machine.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, well, can you mail that to me? I'm like, no, this is 2021. You're getting an email.
Right.
I'll fax if you're like really set on it.
Yeah.
But that's it. Otherwise, if I really need something, I go to Kinko's and I print there because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Overall, going to Kinko's and printing what I need there is cheaper.
Yeah.
Escape the at-home printing capitalist trap, folks. This is like Terry Pratchett's, economic theory of boots or whatever. How the poor people's boots are made so poorly that they have to spend more money on boots than the rich people who can buy a nice pair of boots that last a lifetime.
No, that's yeah.
See,
you just
Discworld Economics 101.
I would say you just summed up modern capitalism.
Yeah.
Although it's not all that modern, because different industries have different trends, and the trend right now, and for the last 20 years, has been, well, you spend money on ink, not on the printer.
Well, there is a light bulb here in the United States. You can go and visit it, and it's been lit for well over 100 years. That's what they can do with
New York fire station.
I don't know.
Yeah,
is it?
I'm pretty sure it's in a New York firehouse, and it has been lit continuously for over 100 years. Not like it is on. Now the thing is like 8 watts. Like it ain't much light, and it's an Edison bulb that hangs on a chain in the corner of a firehouse. They actually have a webcam on it, so you can visit the webcam stream and see that it's lit.
Well, look, and this is the big deal. Like, they've had the technology to make light bulbs that don't break like the ones that we have.
Yep.
But then you have no manufacturing incentive for these companies to build them, right?
Who's going to buy new light bulbs if your light bulb never dies?
How many of you all have bought LED bulbs that have gone out? What kind of garbage is that?
That is the crappy power delivery in 99.9% of cases. The LED is fine. But the power delivery circuit will die on it, because you're down converting 120 volt down to either 5 or 12. And yeah.
No, that actually, that makes a lot of sense.
But that's also a quasi-intentional weak point.
Oh yeah.
So
because where's the market incentive for LED light bulb manufacturers if they do last 30 years?
Do you know what never dies? The transformer for your house doorbell. No one knows that your doorbell runs on 12 volts because you've never had to check. You've never had to replace a doorbell unless you just replaced it with like a ring or something.
Yeah, the rings are making this a lot more common.
But your old school doorbell, somewhere in your house, there's a brick about this big that's sitting, hanging up on a wall, sometimes in a closet or in a bathroom or under the stairs or whatever else. That is a 120 to 12 volt transformer that powers your doorbell.
This was a funny thing. My friend just bought a house and he wanted to get a ring. And so he started tracing where his transformer was. And it was like in some godforsaken spot under the floorboard, but like in his basement. And it took a lot to trace, because there was like, we were tracing it through here and it's like, oh, well, it goes through here. And when you get to the other side, you start following it. But nope, that wasn't actually the right line anymore. You had to go back and it spliced off another direction.
Yeah.
Like such a crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah. But your house doorbell never fails. but it's just a 120 to 12 volt transformer. The same thing that should be powering our LEDs. But you know what? Our LED bulbs are suddenly failing. We know how to make transformers. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to make them well either.
No. All right. Well, moral of the story, y'all, don't buy Ring doorbells because they have promised to give your footage to the police.
Yep.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Anyway, screw Canon, screw HP, screw the at-home printing industry. I'm gonna screw you kind of mood this week. I really am. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not yet. Not yet, Jeff.
Well, I'm in a screw FedEx mood too. So for those who have been following the FedEx saga, so I had a server that was supposed to be shipped to me direct from Supermicro. I have no problem saying this because it's now back out for delivery and should be here tomorrow. They shipped it overnight this time, so hopefully they won't. Yeah. So Supermicro sent out a server at the beginning of the month to me. Dual 28 core Ice Lake 10 nanometer with 512 gigs of DDR4 3200 registered ECC. Legit a 5-figure server, like $12,000 to $15,000 depending on market value right now. That I was looking forward to reviewing. Like, really, the first like brand new server on my channel I get to review. Like, I'm all over this. It was supposed to be delivered on October 11th, on Monday. It was on truck for delivery October 10th. Sweet. Which is a Sunday. It was on the truck on the 9th and then out for delivery on the 10th. On the 10th was a Monday. Whatever. Noon rolls by. FedEx always shows up at my mailbox before noon. And so noon, 1 o'clock rolls by and I drive by. My server's not there. Well, that's weird. Check the tracking. It says still out for delivery. Okay, maybe it's an afternoon delivery. So I waited until 4 o'clock. Nope, didn't hit at 4 o'clock either. Well, that's interesting because I know their schedule at this point. Like, I know when they drop off at my mailbox because it's the same guy. I know the driver who drops it off. Nope, never showed up. Okay, wait till the next day. Still says out for delivery from the day before. Estimated time of arrival Monday. This is 9 a.m. Tuesday morning. Didn't show up Tuesday. Didn't show up Wednesday. Finally, midday Wednesday, it had changed from estimated time of delivery Monday to just pending. Like, we don't know. But no other scans, nothing. So I start a case with them and I say, hey, you have a 3-foot long $15,000 server that you guys somehow lost. Any idea where that might be? Can I drive by and look in your warehouse? Because apparently you guys are not able to do that. Nope, sorry, we don't know. We haven't seen it. Okay. Go through the rest of the week, calling them once a day and a couple of times calling out on Twitter and saying, hey, FedEx, when are you going to drop by my 5-figure server? It'd be really nice to know it's not broken in half somewhere. Oh, sorry, we looked for it. We can't find it. Finally, I get in touch with Supermicro earlier this week. And I say, hey, you're going to love this. It looks like FedEx has lost the server. So I've already got a case number with them. Here's the case number. But if you guys want to follow up from your end as well, or start your insurance claim or whatever else, here you go. You know, and you know, we'll figure out what we need to do later on. So my rep goes, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Like, I'll hand that off to my shipping guys and let them deal with it. He emails me back in the morning and says, I am furious because FedEx just delivered the server back to me. So it went from San Jose to Oregon, onto a truck for delivery, off the truck for delivery, back to San Jose, delivered from whence it came.
Yeah.
And FedEx had no idea. I got a call this morning after it had already been dropped back off with Supermicro in San Jose, saying, hey, we're trying to run a trace. Can you give me an idea of what the contents of that box was and whatnot, and we'll see. I said, yeah, well, I already found it. Thanks. It's back with the guy who shipped it, and he'll be sending it back out later on.
But not with FedEx.
Yeah,
hopefully.
No, it's with FedEx.
Naturally.
But great, you found your package. Cool. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to provide excellent customer service today.
Yeah. Okay, here's what you can do. Walk to the nearest busy intersection. No.
No.
Tell me when you're there, Steve. No, Steve that doesn't work. We know it's Steve.
She was a very nice young lady.
Oh.
And
okay.
I never shoot the messenger. Like, I can get irritated post. Almost never shoot the messenger.
Okay. But you know how well it works to do that sometimes? Every once in a while, the messenger needs shot.
It's not about the server anymore. It's about sending a message.
It's about revenge, Jeff. Okay. This is one too many times they screwed up. Okay.
I will say, on a side note, from last estimate, FedEx is 1 for 19 for on-time deliveries in the last month and a half. I've been tracking them since the beginning of September.
Yeah, sounds about right.
1 for 19. I have received on the day that they said it would be delivered.
This is what I was going to kind of ask about was, there is a big talking point in the United States, and I'm sure around the world right now, about labor shortages, right? And the United States Postal Service just unveiled a very unpopular directive, I guess, or I don't know what you would call it, where they're basically saying, yeah, you can expect your mail to be delivered 40% slower than before, an average of like 3 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is already that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah. Okay. Part of it is the Postal Service can't keep employees going, and they pay pretty well. Right. In my area, they start at like $18 an hour with like unlimited overtime if you want it.
Yeah, that's the trainees get $18 an hour. People who have been there a long time, 35, 40 is not anywhere outside the realm of possibility.
Right.
Like it's actually kind of regular.
Right. Exactly. So most postal employees I know have worked their entire life. So anyway, I'm sure that the same affliction.
Now, before you finish, I was so fed up and irritated with FedEx this last week because all I'm hearing from FedEx, all the excuses that I'm getting is, well, there's a labor shortage. We are running at 65% of what we actually need in our Troutdale facility to get packages moved efficiently.
Then pay more.
Right. So I looked up, what does a warehouse package handler make at FedEx? Guess what? It's $13 an hour.
What does an average driver make? Because the thing is, they're not even paid hourly. Most FedEx drivers, it's run like a franchise. You own the route and you get paid for the route, whether it took you 12 hours or it took you 8 hours. And that's why these guys drive like animals, is because time is literally money to them. So because of the market incentive to screw over the customer.
Yep.
Wow, sound familiar, doesn't it? It's like, let's just let the free market decide how to get packages to a place. Working real well, Jeff. It's working real well. 1 out of 19 times.
1 out of
5%.
Yep. The frustrating thing about FedEx, and I don't mean to harp on this, but let's face it, they deserve it at this point. The frustrating thing about that is it's FedEx who's putting the expectation and the delivery schedule out there. Like, if I ship a package on Wednesday and you say it will be delivered to its destination on Monday, cool. That's what I paid for. If you're so short-staffed and you understand at this point, nationwide, that you're short-staffed, and it's going to take you an additional 4 days to deliver that package to BF Nowhere, Idaho, just tell me next Thursday, because then I'm not waiting for 4 days and seeing delays, and like, change the algorithm that estimates the time of delivery. You know, if you say it'll be there Thursday and then it shows up Wednesday, guess what? You're a winner in my book. But if it says Monday and it doesn't get there until Thursday, that's 3 days of me being pissed off.
Right.
So
here's the thing.
Part of this is FedEx shooting themselves in the foot for not accurately representing the service that they can deliver right now.
Right. We live in unprecedented times, Jeff. So we might be a little understanding if they say, well, hey, we live in unprecedented times, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Your package is going to take 30 to 40% longer to get there because we're operating at 60% staffing capacity. And you go, oh, okay. Great. I understand that. You know why? Because I go to the grocery store and they don't even have the wasabi almonds that I want.
I don't know if you've ever listed a better first world problem.
And they don't have the Smucker's Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
No. They have the grape, but not the strawberry.
Where are you shopping, Jeff? Where are you shopping?
Yeah.
I had to go with a ham and cheese roll-up.
Oh, God. You poor, poor thing.
Did you know that they make taco bites? No, because I want an Uncrustable.
Who would get that when you got the 150 count of pizza rolls? Like...
Exactly.
I got taquitos and pizza rolls in my freezer, boy. I'm good. I've got an air fryer.
Look, if I'm shopping for me, fine. I'm set. Totino's pizza rolls. I got a bag of $499 for $30. Okay. It's set. But I'm buying for a 2-year-old, Jeff. Okay. And he wants his Uncrustables. So anyway, that's what happens when you let the market dictate how you do your jobs. You know, the market approach. Anyway, just kidding. I don't know what I'm saying. Truth be told, FedEx sucks. They've always sucked. And if one of their delivery people crashes on an island, you can count on them to wear your things. You're not even going to get those packages.
I've seen that movie.
So, yeah, it's a factual, it's as close to a documentary as we're going to get about FedEx. Yeah. So,
moving on to someone.
Second news story.
Moving on to someone who won't let you down, and that is, of course, today's video sponsor, Linode. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources or time to invest into hardware, power, cooling, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. Linode makes it simple to deploy and manage your own cloud services, with solutions ranging from a single shared CPU to massive multi-core virtual machines. They even offer dedicated RTX 6000 GPUs for graphic rendering or machine learning. With shared CPU plans, starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. And even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit when signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and thank you again to Linode for sponsoring whatever this is.
Thank you, Linode.
Thank you, Linode. You guys rock.
You want to know who isn't letting the market dictate their horrible business decisions? No, I'm kidding. Jeff, we have a super chat. We miss it. We must get to it. We must set the record straight.
Yes, you are completely correct. I don't even remember who it was, so I'm going to have to scroll up here. There it is. Denver. My man sends over $10. Thank you so much, Denver. Sue Lenovo for having a BIOS splash screen on laptops, not 65 watt, even if the laptop maxes at 25 watt. Those 65 watt chargers are too big for laptop carts, and now laptops miss updates because of splash screen. Not quite sure what the charger, I haven't looked into that particular issue.
He does say right below that, if the charger is not 65 watts. I don't know if that clarifies anything for you.
So, it's a BIOS splash screen, just like Dell used to do, that alerts you if you're not using an official OEM Dell charger. That we require at least 65 watts. Now, never mind that we're using Intel's chip that only draws like 27 at peak, which means we're looking at like a 35 watt total envelope. No, we have to have our OEM 65 watt charger. Yeah, that's crap. That's crap. I've always hated. There's the joke that's literally as old as home computers, which is keyboard not connected, press F1 to continue. That was a real screen that we had to deal with. I know there's not a keyboard connected. Now this may shock some people, but back in the day, there was no such thing as plug and play peripherals, where your keyboard was a serial connection that negotiated its connection at power on of the system. Same with the mouse. And so if your connection wasn't made, you didn't have a keyboard. And that is a real thing that can cause headaches. However, stopping the PC from booting to let me know that there's not a keyboard and please press F1 to continue when I cannot install a keyboard right now and press F1 to continue is kind of a moot point to stopping the whole process, don't you think? Yeah, no, I've encountered very, very similar splash screens, and I have always been... I like the way that a lot of servers do it nowadays, which is they will pause 30 seconds after post and let you know there's a potential hardware issue. Hey, DIMM7 is showing signs of errors. You may want to correct this, and it might even beep at you. But after 30 seconds, it boots into the OS. That's the way to handle BIOS screen errors. Whether it's a keyboard, whether it's failing hardware, whether it's a smart alert, whether it's a sensor that's gone bad or a fan that's running at 100%. Take your time, let me know, but sometimes I already know, and it's okay. So please let me get into the system that I just turned on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that super chat. And we are excited at 45 minutes into the show to get to our second news story of the night.
It's a happening week, let me tell you. I didn't mean to spend 35 minutes yelling at FedEx. Although
you might not have meant it, but the moment that you
let
that go, I facilitated that.
Yeah.
I saw it happening, and I just said, here's the red carpet, Jeff. Let her rip, baby.
You saw
Let's hear it.
You saw the crack in the shades, and you threw those curtains open. Like,
oh yeah. Let's get some daylight on this bad boy. There ain't no hiding, FedEx. Not from Jeff of Craft Computing.
That's right. Oh, man. Moving right along. You might have noticed the title of today's video is It's All About the Pentiums. Is there anything that cannot be done by a Pentium processor? The answer is no. There's not something that can't be done by a Pentium processor, including booting Windows 11. Even though Windows and Microsoft don't let much newer, much more advanced systems run the operating system at all because of a lack of hardware or very, very obscure specifications they're trying to get, or maybe it's a lack of a TPM, tamper protect module. Who knows? But rather than Microsoft set up a list of approved hardware that you have to have in order to be able to install Windows 11. So let's go down the checklist. You have to have AVX2 instructions, and you have to have a TPM module installed, and you have to have a CPU that can boost up to 3 gigahertz, and this and that. Like, cool. As long as your BIOS reports that information, you're good to go. Rather, Microsoft went the opposite direction and blacklisted hardware that shouldn't be able to run Windows 11, which leaves us with some very peculiar, there we go, peculiar circumstances, like the fact that a Pentium 4 processor from 2005 tests as working for Windows 11 when a 7th gen i7 does not. So, it's all about the Pentiums, means that a Pentium 4, as long as it has hyperthreading, will pass the system requirements check for Windows because it's not a blacklisted CPU. And you can install it, and it works just fine. I know it's not much of a title story, but it just made me giggle.
This is great.
This is the method that they chose to narrow down the system requirements of Windows 11. They said, no. Like, we don't care if you have a 7th gen, i7 and you want to install it and you understand the intricacies of TPM and you're fine with taking the risk without having a TPM module. That's fine. Tell you what, we'll give you a little warning screen that pops up during the install, and we might add it to the firewall and security wizard thing in the Windows setup once it's all done. But you know what? It's fully capable of running Windows 11 as it sits. No. Instead, they add the 7700K to a blacklist and omit the Pentium 4 655, which is a 3.06 gigahertz hyper-threaded Pentium 4 from 2005. Sorry, 661. That it's 16 years old. It has no business running Windows 11. But behold, it's a certified to work processor. It just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because there's no reason that Microsoft, outside of we're simply trying to compete with Mac and close our ecosystem a little bit, needs to have a TPM module. I worked with cube farms that didn't have TPM modules. TPM modules, for those who don't know, is like an ISO 9000 standard. It's typically used for like banks and hospitals to ensure that all communication end to end is encrypted and no one has put a man in the middle piece in between the network card physically on the machine and the switch that it's communicating with, or it's not intercepting packets or instructions between the CPU and memory. The hardware as it sits in this PC is certified to work because we're doing our checks and balances and making sure that the before and after still matches. That's the long and short of what a TPM does. There's honestly no reason for a consumer to run a TPM module at home. Like, your computer doesn't get opened that often. It's meant to protect against physical hardware attacks, not against malware, not against downloading wrong cookies, not against all kinds of other things that are legitimately threats. But no, someone's going to plant a little microcontroller somewhere on your physical hardware in your house, presumably on your Dell laptop, because that's all people have anymore. Desktops are dead for the general population. Or iPads or Chromebooks. And that's supposed to protect you. Cool.
Thanks, Microsoft.
So if you need to run Windows 11, go out and buy yourself a socket 775 motherboard and a Pentium 4 661, and you will be off to the races, my friend. DDR1. Who needs 5? DDR1 is where this is at.
What do you think? What would be the cost of something like that to get running with this?
The cost really, it's really hard to quantify because it all depends on, can you find a board? Honestly, 99% of where I would find equipment like this is considered e-waste at this point. Like, not even recyclers will put it out for sale because it's too new to be retro and too old to do anything else.
Yeah.
It doesn't even run a good version of an operating system because it came out in late XP / early Windows Vista days. And so, like, who longs for the days of firing up a Windows Vista PC? Like, that's not a retro community that exists.
I don't know, man. I'll hang on to XP Service Pack 3 for another 5 years.
I know you will.
I'll skip right to Windows 10.
Zachary sends over a $25 super chat. Thank you so much, Zachary. I saw it in time this time. Since I don't really drink, I am clueless about such a thing. Pick a bourbon for me to buy for a bourbon maple bacon. So bourbon in general is already going to be kind of on the sweet side. And if you're doing like a bourbon maple, you probably...
Look, for $25, look, I know you gave us $25, but for yourself, you want the bourbon, okay? His name's Jim Beam. You can't go wrong with Jim Beam for $25.
I would actually go slightly sweeter if you're just going to fry it with bacon. Honestly,
okay.
I mean, Jim Beam's not a bad answer.
No, it's not.
Wait. You can go Jim Beam apple and do some apple smoked bacon. But honestly, for like $20, if you're not going to drink it, you can get something like a Seagram 7 American whiskey. You can get, you know what?
Seagram 7 is Canadian.
Stop.
Don't talk about my Seagrams, okay?
You need to go out and you need to buy a bottle of, I think I have it. Hold on. I have it.
Look, Seagram 7, it's not bourbon. It's Canadian, all right? You want real American bourbon distilled with Kentucky corn mash.
This right here is the bottle you want. This is the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at this. This is a 100 proof Kentucky bourbon. It is fairly sweet. It'll run you about $15 to $17 depending on what your local liquor store charges, but you're well under $20 for this. It is a very, very sweet, actually very drinkable, whether it's in cocktails, straight, neat, whatever, bourbon. And I think that'll get you the flavor you're after more than Jim Beam or Jack Daniels or another off-the-shelf whiskey would. So
he asking about bourbon. Okay, now Evan Williams counts. Don't you dare come back bourbon. Here.
Kentucky straight bourbon.
I know. Evan Williams counts.
Yeah,
it counts. Okay.
I said American whiskey for Seagram, and Mr. Rainier won't get off his high horse.
That's because it's Canadian.
Technically, yes.
Although I'm sure somebody maybe correct me. They're like, well, actually, it's distilled in Canada, but it is in the American style. I don't see anything like that yet, but Seagram 7, that's my preferred cheap whiskey, right? Because you can get a fifth for $10.
Oh, me too. Yeah. No, I buy the handles for 17 at a time.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. Anyway.
Wait. Seagram7.com. You freaking go there right this second.
Oh, God.
You go there right this second.
Oh, no. Seagram7.com?
Seagram7.com. And if you can't even spell it right, then you're already disqualified from this conversation.
Didn't get me there.
Just a second. Here, I'll put it up on screen for you.
I got it.
Seagram 7, okay. An American icon.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So 7 is their American style. VO is their Canadian style. I get it. Okay, I was wrong. Does that make you feel better?
Yes, it does.
Does that make you feel better, Jeff?
It does. It does.
Okay, that's not easy for me to say.
Seagram
so I'm going to say it
an
right now,
American icon.
Okay, well,
American blended whiskey.
But yeah, Seagram's is from Quebec. Nailed it. Anyway, so yeah, 7's their American style. I'll eat it on that one because I as soon as you said it and I corrected you, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it is their American style and VO is their Canadian.
Right.
Style.
Yeah, their straight 7 is an American whiskey.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just allow me to
I will give you. I always forget they're Canadian, so I will give you that. But I was also right that it's an American whiskey.
I only know because I was so broke for so long.
Anyway, Evan Williams, Bottled in Bond. This is the bourbon you want to get if you're going to go out and cook or get used to the flavor of bourbon, get some entry-level cocktails going. This is pretty good, and it's not going to break the bank. So, Evan Williams, white label, Bottled in Bond.
Fair enough.
Boom.
Next super chat from Kevin Bratt. It says, message retracted.
I see the message, and it says... Hold on, no, we've got... Can
you read it?
Hold up, whoa. Okay, yeah, sorry. All of a sudden, we got like 5 super chats, and they all just kind of stacked up on each other.
Yeah.
So, from Kevin, message retracted. Well, thank you for the $2.79 Canadian. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry you retracted it, but hey.
Denver, $5. Thank you again, kind sir. List of my CPUs that was not given, or that have not given an error or notice of Windows 11 compatibility. Core 2 Duo T2400, Xeon X5690, Phenom 2 1045T, Core M5 6Y54, and an Atom X7Z 8750. I have an 8550 or 8350 Atom. 8350 Atom that has also not given me a message. I haven't tested on a Phenom, although I have a Phenom X6 around here somewhere. I do have an X5690, but I haven't tried going that far yet. Core 2 Duo T2400. That's or Core Duo. That's interesting because that's a 32-bit processor. That doesn't have 64-bit instructions.
See what happens when Microsoft they're trying to make those most market-driven decisions possible. They let it fall through the crack. Okay?
Yep.
It's like Blue Diamond Wasabi almonds all over again.
Yep.
Fools.
So the Core 2 Duo Core Duo, not Core 2 Duo, because that was the second generation Core processor. Not to be confused with the second generation Core processor, which is Sandy Bridge. But legacy Intel Core processors. Intel Core Duo T2400, 2 cores, 2 threads, 1.83 gigahertz, no boost, so 1.83, 667 megahertz bus speed, 31 watt TDP, and gosh, where was it? A 65 nanometer architecture. 65 nanometer.
Classic.
Yep. Moving right along here. Actually, it is 9 o'clock, almost on the nose. How is your beer treating ya? I take it you're ready for can number 2.
I can't thank you enough, John Jay. That was delightful, drinkable from the top to the bottom, and responsible for some of the finest rant material we've had on Talking
That
Games.
was great. I actually had to bring the rant. I always hesitate bringing the rant alert out because I don't want it to be overused. And we were going for like 2 minutes, and I went, you know what? This is going to keep going. I think we go rant alert.
Anytime it crescendos with wasabi almonds.
When wasabi almonds and you know it's going to throw down after that, it's like, yeah, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit that.
I'm going, look, we gotta carry on business as usual through the rest of it, because we got some news stories, we got some super chats.
We do.
So I'm going by an old standby here. It is a local favorite, Ninkasi Brewing Prismatic Juicy IPA.
Oh yeah.
This is a delightful beer. You all have seen me drink it like a dozen times. I can't get that to focus, but anyway, you've seen me drink it a dozen times on the show, and by golly, let's make it a baker's dozen tonight. Going right into the clay mug. Look at this. Look at this.
Yep.
Oh, Jeff pulled away.
I pulled away.
Huh? How high can I go? How high can I go?
You're just pouring it on the floor.
Oh shit.
I'm going a little bit oddball tonight for my second brew. So some people know, some people don't. My wife actually has celiac disease, which, for those who don't know, is the root of, does this have gluten in it? I can't have gluten. And the South Park, it'll make your fly off. That was actually celiac disease, and it's the reason why we have so many gluten-free things. And it's kind of a misunderstood thing, but it's actually an anti-immune disorder, where in the presence of gluten, which is the coating around the wheat kernel and can be found in wheat, barley, or rye, your immune system will attack the cilia inside your small intestine. Thus, autoimmune response, which means your body is attacking itself in the presence of a third party. Nothing like, an invasive thing coming in and you holding a gun to the president's head and going, "Get back or I shoot!" That's pretty much what it was. Anyway, I digress. As such, anytime I see a gluten-free beer, I usually want to try it, because my wife doesn't get to drink beer. She doesn't get to drink whiskey. She doesn't get to drink... the cornerstone of my diet is wheat, barley, and rye. And there's not a lot of crossover between us when it comes to recreational enjoyment, or even just food, or going out to a restaurant is very difficult at times. Although I really want to thank the pre-Karens. I call them pre-Karens because they weren't Karens yet. They were just the bitchy women who used to yell at restaurateurs, for kind of making gluten-free be a thing on a lot of menus and pushing forward my wife being able to eat at a restaurant again, because there was 10 years that we couldn't go out anywhere. No one knew what it was, and there was no such thing as a menu, and gluten can be in anything. Anyway, that's all to say that tonight's beer is a gluten-free beer. It is the Watchstander Stout from Ghostfish Head. And the cool thing about Ghostfish Head is they are a 100% gluten-free brewery up in Seattle. So all of their beers are gluten-free. Now, I will say, I don't think this stout is going to pass the light test. It's not pouring very dark at all. But I will still say it is darker than John's attempt at a non-alcoholic stout. So there's that. It's a stout, so we got to turn on the light. Here we go. That's not terrible. You're muted. There you go.
I was being so considerate.
Yeah.
If I would have done that for mine, okay, you wouldn't have seen the light.
Oh, I know. I need to pull up the episode where John... So it was last March, and John was doing a bunch of his non-alcoholic beers. And he poured a stout, and so I decided to pour a 12.5% barrel age, just thick. And he took a flashlight to it, and let me do that again, because his beer looked like the edge right there the entire time. Yeah. At least this one, it darkens up towards the center. You can see there's some blockage there. I put mine up to it, and it was just off. It's I turned the light off at the edge of the glass. There was no refraction. There was nothing. And it's probably one of the funniest moments that's ever happened on this show. Let's see.
That's amazing.
Yosef says, I still own a socket 478 Pentium 4 with Windows 7. I do also have a Pentium 4 478 motherboard out in my garage. Still works. And it's AGP, which I actually am hoping to do a video with an AGP graphics card here in the next couple of weeks, if that shows up. So looking forward to that. Denver sends over another $2. Correction, an IBM X60 T2400, but X61 with an L74. Okay, L7400 makes a lot more sense because I believe they took away 32-bit compatibility finally, where you have to have a 64-bit operating system. So the L7400 makes a lot more sense. Cool, and that's it.
Wait. Did you just read them all? That doesn't sound right. I wasn't paying attention, but
yeah, that's all of them.
You started up.
Oh,
with
wait, no.
Joseph Baggett.
I got Joseph. Hold on.
What about Kevin Bratt? Okay, look.
No, how did I see? I scrolled down the list and those didn't show up, but now I scroll back up and they're there again. What the crap?
Yeah. Don't skip those.
All right. Kevin sends over $6.99 Canadian. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Much appreciated. I just bought an Avaya 9620L IP phone, and I converted it to SIP firmware, and I'm trying to register the phone with FreePBX. I am not familiar with Avaya phones. I did manage FreePBX servers for a number of years, but for the most part, we tried to use Sangoma hardware, even though it is technically just OpenSIP certified. We did have some straight up SIP phones in deployment a couple of different places. But for the most part, when we deployed FreePBX, we went with Sangoma just for the straight up integration that they offered with it. So I'm not sure I'm going to be much help to you there. Let alone that you're flashing an Avaya from standard firmware to an unsupported SIP firmware and then trying to register that SIP firmware with FreePBX. Not only that, it's probably been 5 years since I've registered a phone on a phone system. So, yeah.
Did you get Joseph Baggett right up above him?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the socket 478. Comment.
There's one thing Jeff pays me for, and that is to keep him on track.
Yeah, actually. So. It's like, Rhett, I need you to edit videos, but that's not your primary job. Focus. American Cosworth, $5. Thank you so much. Halloween costume idea. Rhett should shave his head and go as Kane from Command and Conquer.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
That's a total vibe. That could be a thing.
You can do it.
Okay. Then here we go. Skull just realized that YouTube members were a thing. Yes, the memberships are a thing. I think I have them active. But I don't think I have any perks with them, so it's yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing I have turned on. It doesn't get you anything at the moment, though. I think I saw somewhere you can start doing YouTube members for Discord integration, although I have not looked into that. Rev, do you maybe want to confirm that for me? Like, maybe we can at least give like people who want to do YouTube memberships Discord access, because I think I have it at $2.99 a month, but I can't remember for the life of me. Let's see.
Yeah, because I'm not even a member.
Mystery Technology says, Craft, if you need AGP, I have them. I have a card that I had always coveted on the way. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's an AGP card that I always wanted and never got a hold of. So there's a couple of those on my bucket list, and they were kind of like the late series AGP cards. Like, you could get this in PCI, AGP, or PCI Express, and everyone went, yeah, we're just going to make PCI Express at this point. A second, I want to... Need to look up the card that I'm actually getting.
Man, there is a whole party in our Talking Heads Discord room that I always miss out on. I'm never a part of because I'm just a silly boy who doesn't keep the chat open.
Harley says for $5. Thank you, Harley. Much appreciated. I've had stouts where I can get more light through the palm of my hand than through the beer. That's usually how I drink mine. Novella Hub. Looks like YouTube did a milestone message button. So Novella Hub's been a member for 15 months. Skull, where the heck have you been? Like, yeah, I thought you knew better. Also, Skull sends over $10 in the super chat. Also, as my chat mod, both here and in Discord. Thank you, Skull. You rock. But meant to do this one. Here's to the operating costs. Thank you, sir. I'll just take that out of your salary, if that's okay with you. And the D signs up for a new membership. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Rev, if you're listening, I think I've seen you in chat a couple of times. Let me know if YouTube does have Discord integration as far as membership. Maybe that's something we can turn on. So
yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah. All right, and we're all caught up.
Yeah, 38 months for Skull and Rev. Okay, that's like from the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Excellent. John J says he's a new member, but now it says member for 4 months. Did he just wait? How does that work?
I don't know.
By 4 months?
I don't pretend to understand some of YouTube's things.
Oh boy.
Moving right along.
Yeah. Story number 3.
Story number 3. A brief 72 minutes into this episode. And that is that dBrand is coming out swinging. So Sony, a couple of months ago, you might remember. Actually, no, this was back in February, more than a couple of months. Sony threatened dBrand with a lawsuit over side panels they were selling as replacements for PlayStation 5s. So dBrand had come out with these side plates right here, which had vents cut in the side to presumably help cooling. And in fact, I have heard from third parties that they do help cool the console between 3 and 5 degrees beyond stock. And so, yes, they actually do make a difference. However, Sony was suing, saying you can't make side panels that replace the side panels that are already on the PlayStation 5 because that is intellectual property. To which dBrand said, nay! You never patented the side panel for the PlayStation 5.
Nay, sir.
Yeah. Turns out if you want to enforce a trademark on something, you have to first trademark it, which Sony did not do. And so dBrand has now re-released their side panels and said, come at me, bruh.
Good for them.
Which I love.
This is, yeah. Good for them.
So basically, dBrand issued a statement and said, "We have come up with a bit of legal defense that we think is will fully stand up in court should it come to that, and that is, quote, you can't successfully sue someone over an alleged design infringement without a registered design patent. Sony did not have a registered design patent for the PS5 side panels when we launched the dark plates, or for many months following the release. Now, they do now, but dBrand released these all the way back in February. We didn't think they'd ever get one. They did, and here we are. dBrand claims the new design is different enough that it, quote, successfully closes the loop on this dispute and neutralizes any future infringement claims from Sony, adding that its decision to add vents to the side of the plate will help cooling distinguish it further. Quote, happy to license this design to you, Sony.
That's my favorite. You'll find that our rates are outrageous.
Not only do I love dBrand as far as the social marketing genius that they have, but I also love just the corporateness behind it, where they're like, like, literally, this whole press release was come at me, bro, because you're gonna lose.
Basically, this is the problem with intellectual property, and it's a tough line to draw because it's absolutely important for artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're seeing this over and over with comic book artists and book authors and musicians and things like that.
Photographers, cinematographers.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as it goes with like hardware and other things in the tech world like this, like it's such a farce because this also ties in loosely to right to repair. Like, why could you not buy a different side plate for your PS5? Why? It's stupid. Anyway, good for them.
Right.
I'm on board.
Yeah. Case replacements for consoles have been a thing since consoles. Like, you've always been able to reverse engineer and sell replacement shells. That was totally a thing on the Nintendo DS because their hinges broke at the drop of a hat. And in fact, my original Nintendo DS has a replacement shell on it that I bought from a company overseas because it had a better quality hinge. This is really no different. And it's completely legal.
And it's funny because the people who whine so much about intellectual property, I mean, they're also the ones that, I don't know where I'm going with this. It just bothers me.
Yeah.
A lot. Like this is like the story of Microsoft. I was just reading a lot about this recently, where like early, you know, Microsoft operating systems were like freely and widely distributed, like much to the dismay of Bill Gates.
Yeah.
But then when personal computers began to become widely adopted and these massive companies were buying hundreds, if not thousands of PCs and saying, well, what's the most popular operating system? Who should we go through? Oh, Microsoft has it. Let's license 1,000 Microsoft, you know, OSs.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Gates benefited wildly from the violation of his own intellectual property, but then used the basis of intellectual property to like snuff out competition.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think that this is really the right place for a conversation about piracy versus legitimate customers versus DRM versus all the other things that we usually talk about in the gaming and software space. Maybe that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But it's always an interesting dichotomy with Nintendo going after Super Nintendo ROM sites, for example.
Yeah.
You weren't using that property. 90% of that property was not Nintendo first-party property anyway. Like, yes, Nintendo licensed that property, but that was a license for the dev kit to release it as a Nintendo SNES product, not necessarily as a Nintendo first-party product, which means you really don't have any rights to defend Battletoads on SNES as being a illegally distributed ROM. That's up to the publisher and the copyright holder. So, you know, there's game preservation versus ROM distribution versus software preservation is all kind of in the same encompassing conversation. And I think everyone knows where I stand. I am all for game preservation and in all of its forms, whether it's development versions or retail releases or whatever else. There are games from my childhood that I can't play because they don't exist. The company went bankrupt, 20 years ago, and the software is lost. Like it literally doesn't exist anymore. I've been looking for copies of a couple different pieces of software for well on to a decade and a half, because I've also been looking for hardware for that long because I want my first PC. And if someone has it, I'll pay a bounty on it. I will pay for my first PC, which is a compact Presario CDTV 520. If anyone has one, let me know. I'd like to talk. But and I said CDTV. You got to have the TV tuner in it. That's important. But yeah, I've been looking for various software for years and years, and if it weren't for preservation efforts by some groups, some of the software that I have found and gotten a hold of would not exist anymore. Same with games, same with a lot of other things. And treating every single pirate as if they were already going to be a legitimate customer. The only reason they didn't buy from you is because they had the option of piracy is a straight up fabrication. Yeah. In fact, most of the time, pirates are some of the best customers. They just went, you know what, I'm just not going to buy this one.
100%. And again, that ties back into the idea Microsoft's success flies in the face of that argument of piracy. Yeah. Because Microsoft is successful because of piracy. Because who was popular? The most pirated, copied operating system available at the time. And when a legitimate company wanted to do legitimate business, they said, well, who's the most popular? Microsoft. Okay, buy them. Done deal, right? It's the same thing for anything else. Look, if you have the money, you know, buy stuff, support people, support the developers, support artists. It's a no-brainer, right? You don't support me and Jeff, we go away. You don't support your favorite bands and artists, they go away.
Right. I'm only here because you guys support me. This is literally my full-time job now. So support the artists you like. Support the artists you want to see.
That being said, there's something to be said about word of mouth and sharing things that you like, even if there's not an exchange of money. And I could go on all day about this, but a company like Sony beating down the doors of some small company and their faceplates, intellectual property, and they couldn't even be bothered. They have a legal team the size of the city that I grew up in, and they can't even be bothered to make sure that they had a trademark or a patent on something already.
Right. Before they started sending legal threats to dBrand, knowing full well how dBrand responds to legal threats. Like, to wrap us around full circle here.
Right. You know what? I'm getting a dBrand faceplate when I get a PS5. That's all there is to it.
All right. I think we're going to skip the next story because that was just kind of a filler, and we're running a little late as it is. So I think we're going to jump right into that Alibaba. We talked about this a little while ago on the channel. That they are starting to develop their own server architecture. That is their own socketed CPUs, motherboards, full-on, you know, server architecture. They've just unveiled the bare metal of their new system, which is called the Yiten 710, which is a 100% in-house built cloud server based on a socketed 128 core ARM processor, which actually has more transistors than Apple's M1 Mac. Now, that's not saying a whole lot, since Apple's M1 Mac is an 8 core with 8 compute units, or 8 graphic compute units. But the fact that they have that amount of density in a socketable CPU is pretty impressive, especially since they're aiming at web servers. They're aiming at multiple simultaneous workload rather than single-threaded speed. It's the common argument of, should you buy server hardware versus consumer hardware? You know, well, do you need to go fast in one thing, or do you need to go fast in 20 things? And the fact that Alibaba is putting out a legit ARM v9 server processor with 128 cores is pretty exciting. I don't know what I'd do with one, but I kind of want to have one because it sounds like it's right up my alley. You know? 128 cores, they can reach speeds up to 3.2 gigahertz, 8 DDR5 memory channels, and 96 PCIe 5.0 lanes. 5.0 lanes. So this isn't exactly out of the normal playbook of taking, you know, old technology using DDR3 or DDR4 and PCI 3. This is literally 100% latest gen, cutting edge server tech crammed into as many servers as they can, running modern architecture. It's kind of cool.
It is cool. Sorry, I'm typing in chat.
Yep. People are going off about their first computers now. My first computer was a Tandy MC10. That's predating me just a little bit. Not by much, though. Now, technically, my first ever computer, was a Macintosh LC2. That is the first computer that I had in my room. The first computer that I could kind of call my own. I did have the computers that I learned how to disassemble and reassemble hardware with were a pair of 386 20 megahertz machines. They didn't have a manufacturer on them as far as I can tell. I think they were white box. But they were 386 20 megahertz with 2 megabytes of RAM. And something like 12 megabyte hard drives, if they were even that. Booted off floppy. Yeah. So those are how I learned to, put computers together and not break things. Were those couple of machines. My first PC was the HPAC or Compaq. Sorry, I wanted to say HP Compaq, but they weren't HP Compaq back then. It was just Compaq Presario. It was the Compaq Presario CDTV 520. It was a 12-inch CRT all-in-one that kind of looked like those old VHS TV combos that you had, like everyone had in their kitchens, or in an RV. It was that kind of form factor, but it had a CD drive and a floppy disk on the front of it. And the reason it was called the CDTV was it had an analog TV tuner on an ISA card around the back. And so not only could you use this as a Windows 3.1 desktop, you could also plug in an antenna or cable TV and watch TV on your Windows 3.1 desktop. Like, it's just a cool machine. It also shipped with a piece of software called TabWorks, which was a shell over the top of Windows 3.1, where instead of launching Program Manager, you would launch TabWorks. And it looked like a 3-ring binder with a whole bunch of tabs, and you would click on the tab and it would flip the page over to the next program list folder that you were looking at. So it was a visual operating system, not unlike DOS Shell or Program Manager in Windows 3.1, but it was definitely not either of those. It was its own complete thing, just running on top of Windows.
Nice. Yeah, the first computer that we had in our house was, in iMac G3. I really didn't have much exposure to computers before then.
I've owned over the years like 20 of those. Actually, my first independent business venture, those were the machines that I used to run my business. Because at the time, you could pick them up for less than $100 a piece. And so I needed a whole bunch of them to run. And it didn't matter what system I ran. It could be Windows, it could be Mac, it could be Linux. Didn't matter, as long as it would interface with a camera and had a certain web interface on it and whatnot. It's like, I can run this business on that. That's cool. And so I would find surpluses from like elementary schools where they were selling labs, and it's like, I'll buy 5 of them for $100.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we got ours in like 98 or 99. It was just me and my dad, and he ran his own business, and he needed a computer for email and things like this. And so we got the iMac G3, and it had this I was just a kid, so it had this game I think about all the time, and it was called Nanosaur. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the show a whole bunch, but it was like you played as like a velociraptor that had like futuristic weapons like laser guns, a jetpack, and things. And the goal was you had like 20 minutes. You had to collect all the eggs of these dinosaurs before the asteroid hit. Otherwise, they'd go extinct, right? You get the eggs, you bring them back, and you save dinosaurs for some future thing. Anyway, that was a great game.
Hey,
first
Rhett,
personal.
You're not going to believe this.
What? Oh my God, yes.
The website still exists. Requires Mac OS 922. Does not run on OS X or in classic mode on OS X. Requires a 300 megahertz Macintosh, an ATI Rage 128, and 64 megabytes of RAM, although they recommend 96.
Wow.
The game webpage still exists.
Yeah, Pangea Software. Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, Cro-Mag Rally. That was Cro-Mag Rally and Bugdom. So those were two games that were on like future G3s that we had gotten. So that like the Gen 1 G3 that we got in like 98, 99 had Nanosaur.
Yeah.
And then we got another one like 2000, I don't know, 2002 something.
Mm-hmm.
That had Bugdom, which was like a little, you played as a bug.
Yeah.
And then Cro-Mag Rally, which was like a racing, like kind of like a Mario Kart. But
right.
Nanosaur stands apart. Okay. That game was legendary.
Yeah,
the music was that was amazing.
Cro-Mag Rally, that was like the caveman racing game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember playing that.
Yeah.
At one point. You can download it for free.
Oh wow. I don't think I was that married to it. I'd rather play Nanosaur. But no, it was still good. And it actually had what's the word? It had like multiplayer, but like,
split screen, same keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Multiplayer.
Yeah.
The way we used to play Cyberdogs. Anyone remember Cyberdogs?
One player would use WASD, the other player would use
numpad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
pretty cool shit. Yeah, and then the first PC that I ever had myself was like an off-the-shelf HP, but it was after a tsunami wiped out all of the RAM factories in Asia, so it had a great distinction of using Rambus, which was a huge pain in the ass to upgrade.
You're pissing off a really good friend of mine right now.
Oh,
that's funny.
He lives by Rambus.
No. So he was known as the early adopter who always got bit. And so he was like, I'm finally in the market for a new PC. Dell had this deal going on, and I can get a Pentium 3 850 megahertz with 128 megabytes of Rambus memory, and it comes with Windows Millennium. Like, why wouldn't I jump on that?
I'm pretty sure that's close to what I had, but it was an HP.
Yeah. So yeah, that was his machine for years and years and years. And the thing with Rambus is it's a dual channel memory, but it can only run in dual channel.
Yeah.
And
so I had two sticks of 128 megabytes.
And then two dummy sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I upgraded though, and it cost me an arm and a leg to get two sticks, and I think I got so I had like 760 megabytes total, or so, whatever, right in there.
Yeah.
Some obscure number that no one would ever.
768.
768. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm all about them obscure RAM numbers. 540. Anyone get to 540?
But
that's a 512 and a 32 megabyte stick.
Yeah, it was another time. But then I upgraded. I pulled my money, got myself a NVIDIA GeForce 3, baby. That's where I was at. I played Warcraft 3. Nobody's business.
Yep. Net Guy sends over a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, good sir. Could be the resin fumes or the double IPAs, but very happy to help support your full-time creation journey. Thank you for the unique home lab content, #pickle beer, to which I already responded, it's going to cost you a lot more than that.
I'll drink a pickle beer.
Rhett will drink a pickle beer. Rhett will be my official, King's taster.
Yeah.
Rhett, do you taste pickle on this brew?
Oh, yes, sir. I taste pickle. How about you? Just a little limerick for you. Jeff pays me the big bucks for a reason, everyone. Mm-hmm. Look,
it's not for the writing.
No, it's certainly not. Y'all want Jeff to drink pickle beers? Send them, and I'll drink them for you, because I love pickle beers. And I love pickled juice.
Yeah.
One of a great little, you can't call it a cocktail because it doesn't have 3 ingredients, but whiskey and pickle juice.
I've heard that, and in fact, a common back at a bar is you get a shot of Jameson with a pickleback.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. No. It's great.
I don't. That's like drinking the blue liquor that preserves combs. I don't want to drink the fluid that preserves my pickles. That makes the cucumbers edible combs. 3 years later. Like, on what planet does that make sense?
It's good. And it has so many electrolytes. It's better for a hangover.
Because it's 90% salt.
It's good for you. And it's a great hangover cure. If you're not feeling well in the morning after drinking,
this will finish you off.
It'll perk you up. God, this guy, everybody. He's over here talking about Evan White. Evan White?
Who's Evan White?
Get out of here. It's the white label.
Are you still talking to Evan White? That's still in your phone book?
Whatever.
You know what? I thought you said you wouldn't see him anymore.
You don't pay me enough. Send your pickle beers to me, and I will issue a review on Jeff's behalf.
There you go. That's as close as you will ever get to getting pickle inside of me.
I'm all about it.
Are we not doing phrasing?
No, why not?
Okay.
That was a sexy phrase, and I'm there for it.
Right.
Yeah. It's the closest you're going to get getting pickles in Jeff.
Yep.
Getting your dirty pickle in Jeff.
You're not getting that inside of me.
But you can get it inside of me because I'm cheap and I love pickles. Here's the thing.
Rhett's cheap enough that I could afford him. So there you go.
Fermenting things is a practice as old as civilization, Jeff.
You're right. You're right. I do want to talk about this beer for a second, which I am actually very much enjoying.
I was going to talk about pickled eggs, but you go ahead and take it away.
I feel like I need to because you were going to talk more pickles. I need to divert back to relevancy. So let's start with beer and let's get back to tech before this becomes the pickle hour or basically hops and brews. So gluten-free stout. What is this clocking in at? 6.5%. So not a heavy stout. You okay over there, buddy? Not a heavy stout by any means. But actually surprisingly rich malt to this. Really full-bodied. This is definitely not a thick chocolate or coffee or barrel-aged stout or anything like that. But if this was like your starting brew, I could see this turning into something special like that. Like this reminds me, this is going to be slightly higher praise than this should deserve, but follow me. This reminds me like of Fort George Kavatka Stout, where that is their base for all of their specialty beers. So Fort George will make like 12 different barrel-aged beers and collaborations and whatnot. And the Kavatka Stout, which is their standard 9.0 stout, is still a phenomenal beer. And it has all the right notes that you would want to taste in a good stout. I'm getting all the right notes in this glass and nothing that I'm not happy with. Like the malt is right. It's got a little bit of a roast to it. It's a little bit of a dark chocolate, if I had to even call it that much. But mostly it's just a good drinkable dark beer. And man, if they could boost the ABV on this by like 2%, I think it would be a contender in some stout competitions at that 8 to 8.5%,
You're selling me.
Right.
Because, Jeff, like I told everybody before, I love a dark beer.
Yeah.
My mouth, I'm getting
for a wheatless, barleyless, rye-less beer, maltless beer. Like, there's no malt in this. You realize that, right? And it's a stout, and I'm enjoying it.
Dogfish Head, right?
Ghostfish Head.
So
there's Dogfish Brewing and Ghostfish Head, right?
I do that every single time for those breweries.
And I think it's kind of unique to people who live in this area who understand both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghostfish Head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sounds great.
It truly is a solid beer.
We have a gluten-free brewery in Portland. Well, at least one, probably more.
Yeah.
Bale Breaker. They're pretty good.
Oh, Bale Breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, they got great beers. Probably not as good as that, because that sounded amazing. My mouth is literally watering.
It's seriously good. Like, we're 40 minutes in. That's what's left. I'm pretty honest about my beers.
We know.
No, this is just great. I mean, it's not the best stout I've ever had. But it has all the makings of something that is so good. It has all the right notes. There's nothing off-putting about it. Like I said, if you added 2% to this, I think it's a real winner. A real winner.
Sounds great. Next time, I need one too.
I have a couple out in my fridge. I'll save you one.
Oh, hell yes. Once again, this relationship pays off.
I buy my beers in 4-packs usually. Even if they don't come that way, I'll buy 4 at a time. Because that's 2 for me to enjoy, or rather 1 for me to enjoy and 1 to give to someone else, and then 1 to have on a regular episode, and then 1 to have on Talking Heads. So
yeah,
I'll buy a 4-pack and I'll crack 1 off for myself as a dinner gift to myself, and then I've got the show taken care of for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and that's how we roll.
That's what I did when I went to, we were supposed to be at San Am for that show.
Mm-hmm.
I went to San Am and I just bought 4-packs of like 10 different beers. Do I regret it? Well, maybe my pocketbook does. But why not? You know, I working for Craft Computing, I can now afford beer. So y'all getting more than Rainier now.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What else do you guys
notice he opened 2 craft beers. Now, one was Ninkasi that comes in a 12-pack, like baby steps.
It was on sale.
Baby steps.
It was on sale. I think like normally like a 6-pack of that comes out like at the convenience store, right? Comes out to like $12.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's about $2 a 12 ounce. Yeah.
And I got a 12-pack for like 15.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's what's up. This is a great beer though. So
did you get the Ninkasi IPA pack is what that was? So you got the prismatic, the Tricera hops.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just those 2, yeah.
Okay. That's not a bad deal.
No, it was a great deal.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at the store for beer, but I was right at the checkout stand. I was like, all right. For $15.
So Novella Hub says, it sounds like Jeff only wants pickle beers in his P.O. box, to which I stay, if you send me too many pickle beers, they will not land in the fridge. I will store them in my hot garage over the summer and then give them to Rhett. So
that sounds fine. That sounds
sparingly only.
Send them. You know what? Maybe I got to start sharing my P.O. box with everybody. Get those pickle beers.
It's the only way a pickle's going to show up on this channel is if you're drinking it.
I don't see the big deal, Jeff. It sounds good.
Brine of Satan.
Morty. Come to the garage, Morty.
I'm a pickle, Morty! Funniest shit I've ever seen.
I got it. My
What?
dad
I'm gonna
bought
touch
a
it.
toy.
And you're gonna say like it's an alien dick or something.
My dad bought a toy the other day, and he gave it to my son. And he's like, I don't know. He just needed to have something to play with. And it's like, I don't even know what it is. It's a shaker or whatever, but it looks like a cactus. It legitimately looks like Cactus Rick. Like if Rick was a cactus.
I'm Cactus Rick.
That's all I can think of every time I see it. I'm like, Morty, I'm a cactus, Morty. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
Oh man.
It's nice when we can just have these like 6 seconds where we don't have to talk. Anyway, moving right along.
We both saw something in the chat. We had to jump on.
I did too. Yeah. Oh, send pickle beers to Rhett's PO Box at 52. I need to see if 52 is available. Maybe that'll be a thing.
Rhett Box 52.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
All right. So Alibaba put up their new ARM processors, and Rhett, this was a late ad, like since the start of the show, because I completely forgot about the Apple event. So we're just going to go into it. And that is that Apple also unveiled their new ARM processors. Sorry, I completely forgot to add it to the notes.
I was like, where is this?
in the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Now, I did add it to the show notes, so you can go click on it if you want.
No, it's too late.
Yeah, we're already into it. Yeah, so 5 nanometer M1 Max CPUs are here. Now, my first criticism is really M1 Max is what you're going with, because you unveiled the M1 Max last year, but now you're talking about unveiling the M1 Max. Everyone see what I did there? Okay. I'm just waiting for the iMac Max with the M1 Max CPU. But I digress. There were some pretty big upgrades in this CPU, and I don't mean to take this lightly. I am seriously impressed by what Apple has done year over year with the M1 CPU. Especially this being only their first generation with some improvements CPU. They're not even willing to call it a second generation yet. And mind you, the Mac Pro is reportedly going to use like 4 of these glued together. So it's going to be fast. I think we can safely say that. Thunderbolt 4 on board, up to 64 gigabytes of DDR4 supported, 400 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth, 5 nanometer process, has 10 CPU cores, that is 8 high performance cores and 2 low power cores, up to 32 cores on the GPU, 16 as standard, ProRes decode and encode built in. And they say industry leading performance per watt. And honestly, I'm just going to take their word for it, because they kicked the crap out of it with the M1. And I can't imagine this is going to be any worse. Yeah, for those who are looking for a laptop, the brand new MacBooks, holy crap. Just holy good goddamn. Do they look impressive? The one thing that I think I'm impressed with the most is that Apple backtracked over the last 5 years. We listened to pros, and they said all they wanted was 2 USB-C ports on their laptops. And we want it thin enough so we don't need to add an SD card slot. And we never use the HDMI port, so let's 86 that. We listened to pros, and what they'd really like is some non-tactile interfaces in the form of essentially an Apple Watch spread across the function buttons with a touch interface that makes absolutely no sense for any application and is essentially a touch emoji bar for 90% of applications. I'm going to give Apple credit. They backtracked on like every one of those statements. They did away with the emoji bar, and it's back to function keys with actual functions, with actual tactile keys that you can press, and you can press them without looking at them and know exactly what what you're pressing. There's nothing more frustrating than I'm even just trying to adjust the volume on my Mac, and I hit the wrong button in the wrong location because it's a touchpad instead of a physical key that I know the location of. Beyond that, my M1 MacBook is the best laptop I have ever used, bar none. And the thought of getting four more high performance cores under the same footprint, it's beyond a need. It's into a want, which means I'm not going to buy one, but I really want one. But the rest of the backtracking, hey, we don't think you need to carry around 17 dongles. How about if you carry around just your 10 gigabit Ethernet dongle, and we go ahead and let you plug in an SD card and an HDMI cable at the same time, so your video editor can review footage and you can have a second monitor when you're docking down, as well as 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports to use to your heart's content. Doesn't that sound like a pro application, Apple? Yeah. This is thicker than previous MacBooks. It's thicker. It also has more battery life because it's thicker. Because they could. Like, imagine if laptops were an inch thick now. Like, no. Just imagine if laptops were an inch thick today. Alienware excluded because they're still an inch thick.
there's a few gaming laptops.
Yeah, I mean,
an inch thick.
There's the desktop replacement, which is like, we put an AMD 5950X into a laptop, and we have no way to cool it because we put 2 heat pipes on top of it, and we're hoping to God it doesn't just burst into flames. No, think of like laptops back when Apple started pushing for thin. Think of like the last Dell laptop that you owned circa 2012 or earlier. Do you remember what those laptops looked like? How about 2006? Do you remember 2006? I know you were like 6 years old, but...
Shut your mouth. I was 8.5.
Yeah, does anyone remember 2006 when I was already out of college and married? Yeah, that was... Yeah. I had what was a portable 14-inch laptop that was widescreen, forward-thinking, I will say. But widescreen laptop, 1440 by 900 display. It was also a compact. It was a Turion X64 X2. So it was a dual-core Turion. That thing was an inch thick. It was thick. It was bulky. It was heavy. It got 3 hours of battery if all you did was turn it on and let it sit.
Yeah. I've got a Dell Inspiron from like 2003 somewhere, like right around me. I'm looking around for it, but I don't see it. But it's around here for sure.
Is it one of the 14-inch 4x3s? Of course. Oh, God, yeah. Of course it's 4x3. You don't believe in widescreen.
No, it was a gimmick back then. Yeah. Oh, man. I maybe I'll pull that out for the super secret after show.
There you go.
If I can go and find it.
Take off your shirt, grab the laptop, the standard.
Well, yeah.
Which, by the way, if you want access to our super secret after show, make sure to look us up on Patreon or Floatplane. Links are both down in the video description. You'll get exclusive access to said Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, and all the other hosts from Talking Heads. Not that there's any more, but there could be. And also the awesome and ever-growing community that hangs out over there. We take part in an after show that starts at 10:30 p.m. Pacific time every week. Usually lasts about an hour and a half to 2 hours, or whenever people start dropping like flies.
Because 5 hours, 6 hours.
Sometimes I will go to bed at 2 a.m. and wake up, and the Australians are still talking.
I'm trying to get everybody in the super secret after show to just like, hey, let's play some Unreal Tournament 2004, but everybody just wants to hang out and talk, and like we share our feelings and personal stuff. It's like, can we just play some Instagib? Come on.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Just kidding. That's not true. I mean, it is. I mean, I would love to. You guys want?
That'd be great. Yeah.
But I was just joking.
Yeah. So if you want to see where this party keeps going, hit us up on the Patreon or Floatplane and help keep the lights on around here, because that's literally most of my income. It would be much appreciated. Too. And Rhett's too. Like, yeah, I'm paying for his lights now.
true.
Freaking
and notice
hell.
I've got them all on.
I know. I noticed. I noticed. Could you turn one off just for me? Like, I need to make sure your family's okay, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Because I care about my contract employees.
It's true. He does. He's better than FedEx.
That's true. It's true. Anyway, the new MacBooks look insane. I had to make sure we talked about them. Let's get into a quick retail update, and that is that Walmart is finding themselves under a little bit of fire after a TikTok went viral, which I didn't know was a thing, and I also didn't know that there were TikTokers. Like, there's people that actually post TikToks and people watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Dude,
kidding.
I'm all in this now.
I'm kidding.
Because last time Big Spoon in his super chats got me on
TikTok.
TikTok.
No, he's got a couple viral TikToks.
He does.
We have a TikToker in our Discord community. The only TikToker I watch with any regularity is Scott Prop and Roll. For anyone who's seen him or not seen him, he's a prop master who works on a lot of Hollywood and television and stuff like that. And he shows you like rubber knives and he'll like stab himself like 6 times and then finish with a dad joke. And it's like a 30-second video and it's amazing. Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to lie. TikTok's great.
I see the appeal. It's not for me because my videos have evolved into like 25 minutes each, but
I think
I see the appeal.
Jeff, knowing your humor, I think there's a place for you on TikTok.
I think there is because I've got pretty quick one-liners. I really do.
I haven't seen many TikTok tech tubers. TikTok tubers.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
Tech talkers.
There you go.
See?
You're already redefining the entire space.
Right. If I'm the first one, do I get to name it?
Probably. Look, the thing is that you have all of the hashtag talk spaces, right? You've got witch talk. You've got, what's some of the other ones? I think of witch talk because that's just popular all the time. Anyway, anything talk is a space, Yeah. Any word talk, it's a thing.
Anyway, Walmart is under a bit of fire because of this TikTok that has gone viral, been seen at least 3.5 million times, and that's when the article was written by The Independent, so it could have been like on Monday, who knows. But in the 22-second TikTok, it says, y'all can't get any PS5s because Walmart is hoarding them all. So here is a distribution warehouse owned by Walmart, showing literally an entire industrial shelf full of PlayStation 5s, like thousands of PlayStation 5s. Now, I'm of two minds about this. I'm in the mind of the consumer, saying, what the bloody hell? We haven't been able to buy those since they were announced. It seems wrong that Walmart is just holding them. And to some extent, I agree. To the other extent, I also know that Black Friday is coming up, and Walmart probably wants to have a decent stock so they can offer Black Friday and say, hey, we have PlayStation 5s in stock, come visit us for Black Friday. I can't really fault them as a retailer because that's a normal strategy.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, something's hard to get, but the point of a retailer is not just to sell you something, it's to get you into the store and buy with that retailer. And so if Walmart has the stock, then Walmart holds the cards. And it's kind of, I'm not defending the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Like, let's be clear. There's a lot of things I can fault Walmart for. But this seems kind of minor.
There's a lot of reasons why PS5s are hard to get your hands on.
Just like every other piece of technology that everyone wants right now. And even not technology.
Right. And this is factor 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
Right. Is it crappy? Yeah, probably. But is it normal? Yeah. Like, especially going into the season that we're going into now. I don't know. I mean, yeah, we're not going to sit here and defend Walmart by any means, but like there are a myriad of other reasons why you can't get the tech that you want to get your hands on.
Yeah.
And so all you got to do is become like me and become a second, third gen adopter. Widescreen's a fad.
Find yourself a YouTuber, get in close, befriend him.
Exactly. Look, all I'm saying is there's probably one at your favorite local bar. And if you just go in enough times, it's bound to work out.
I wasn't even a YouTuber then. You were playing the long game.
I'm all about the long game. Jeff, I'm an expert at identifying those who can be useful to me later on in life.
Yes. This guy looks like he'd be good in front of a camera. Hey, do you want to join a podcast and just talk about your experience with VR and what you think about the industry? You know what? You should start a YouTube channel. So I can mooch graphics cards off you later on in life.
And it's working. I can play all the latest titles.
That's right. That's right.
All the latest. Have you ever heard of Morrowind?
Yes, Red. We've heard of Morrowind.
I can play it. I got all the latest HD graphic overhauls.
Got those total conversions working. Second Life. Yeah. My character didn't get off no boat.
Hell no.
No, he's born into the thief. Yeah, I've played some Morrowind. Come at me.
Whatever. Whatever, Jeff. That is your real name.
It's not.
When is the Morrowind video coming out? I don't know. Soon. Why not? Let's make it happen.
Eventually, yeah. Yeah, I have the graphics done for a second channel. We just need to, like, figure out what we want to put on it.
I know.
The hard work's done.
Yeah. It is.
Right?
Just time for all the extra work.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fun work, if you will.
Well, I just contracted it out, so, you know.
Hey, you know, anytime. We'll make it happen. Enough people start asking for Morrowind videos. I'm going to be duty bound to deliver sooner or later.
I think you're going to have to eventually. Anyway, it is 10:03, 3 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, and I think that's going to do it for episode 206 of Talking Heads. You can catch us every Wednesday night here on YouTube on Craft Computing for the latest in beer and tech news. Rhett, you got anything to pimp for that other thing that doesn't pay your bills? Time's up. Okay, cool.
Guys, you can find everything that I do over on my Twitter account at Red is Awesome. That includes my game dev podcast, Game Dev's Quest, over at gamedevsquest.com, and my Dungeons and Dragons podcast, now lovingly known as The In at the End. You can go to chaoticamateurs.com or inattheend.com. And as always, I'm going to be here some Wednesdays live on Talking Heads with Craft Computing. You can find me sitting behind the editing station whenever Jeff has new videos come out. So go ahead and tweet at me, keep me company at Red is Awesome.
Yep. Link to his Twitter is down in the video description. Check me out on Twitter at Craft Computing if you like daily shenanigans and funny posts and me bitching about the world, because that's a lot of what it is. Anyway, make sure to join the Patreon or Float Plane so you can help support the channel, keep the lights on for both me and Rhett, and help keep content coming straight to you. Patreon and Float Plane is literally what keeps the house afloat. It's what makes this whole thing run. It greases the wheels and makes sure content keeps coming. Most other funds I count as lost and go back into content. So keep that in mind when you're subscribing to your favorite YouTuber of choice. Anyway.
Absolutely. Hey, super chat from Cran, $5. He says something about Australia. Hey, good eye, mate. That's all I have to say about that.
Rhett, I know people here.
By popular demand, Jeff.
Yeah.
Token Australian sport. I had to do it.
Token Australian support. Yeah, Rhett's our token Australian. Ugh. I apologize on behalf of Craft Computing. His views do not represent those of the incorporation.
They asked me to do it. Okay. And he gave us $5.
Okay. If
I'll
he asked,
myself
okay.
$5.
Okay. I gotta get you like some training with Tech Yes. Get some of that Bogan voice going on.
I think so.
Like we've had some beers with him, so you've already had some one-on-one, but I think you need that next. You need like Rosetta Stone for Bogan.
Yeah, it comes out even stronger after beer 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
let's make it happen.
Yeah, no. Brian's great after 3 beers, by the way. He's a lot of fun.
Now 4, too far. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we had to distance ourselves after 4. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching episode 206 of Talking Heads. As always, I'm Jeff, and as always, we will see you next Wednesday.
Cheers, all.
Cheers, everyone.